Hello.
Welcome to this Friday, this lovely Friday. Ask a Reporter again. I'm Amelia.
I'm Jack.
And we make BTN with a lot of other people.
That's right.
Thank you if you are a regular Ask a Reporter, classroom or school or person, individual on their own.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us again. And to any new schools or viewers, thank you very much for tuning in to Ask a Reporter. It's so great to have you.
Yes.
We have many
a lot
questions
of questions
today. Possibly
from us,
more
not from you.
than we have questions for you. No, we have so many questions, possibly more than we've ever had, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions. So
good on you guys.
Thank you so much. We really like that. We like to have lots of questions because it gives us something to do and a challenge to try to answer as many as we can in the little amount of time we have. So on that note, let's jump into it. We are, of course, talking about coronavirus. Oh, we haven't stopped talking about coronavirus here at BTN and all around every newsroom in Australia and around the world.
It is everywhere. So it kind of makes sense that, you know, we're doing as many stories to try and teach you guys about what's going on, keep you up to date with any new information that comes up, and also, like, you know, put you guys at ease so you don't have to worry so much, because it is you know, a big serious issue and problem at the moment, but hopefully, you know.
Hopefully we can answer some of your questions and reassure you a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's just give a little disclaimer here, guys. We are not coronavirus experts.
Oh, we're not?
Oh, I'm not.
Oh.
Are you?
I'm definitely not.
We are definitely not. But we will do our best to answer your questions, and we have actually got the help of an expert who will feature in this Ask a Reporter. So hopefully Rosa from Adelaide University will be able to help us.
Hi, I'm Rosa. I'm a virologist and I study emerging viral diseases at the Research Centre for Infectious Diseases at the University of Adelaide.
So there's Rosa, and she'll be popping up throughout this Ask a Reporter to help us out with some of these questions.
I feel like I can breathe.
Thank a breath,
you, Rosa.
Take a breath, Jack. Thank you, Rosa.
I was going to have to put on
awesome.
my serious doctor
your serious
glasses.
reflective glasses.
Should have got the non-reflective.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Oh. All right, well, but yeah, so we're not experts, but we will try to answer your questions. So make sure if you have any questions further than this, or just any questions at all, or you're worried about anything to do with coronavirus, please speak to somebody about it. Speak to an adult, speak to a parent, a teacher, even talk to your friends if you're a little bit worried. But make sure if you are unsure about anything that you ask an adult. And you can always also speak to your doctor if you're worried about any symptoms. Okay, so let's launch into it. So we have, to kick things off, I'm going to go with, who should we go for?
I feel like
Ramin. There are so many. Okay, I'm going to go with Ramin from Alamanda K9 College, who tune in every week. How did bats transfer the virus to humans? I think this is possibly one for Rosa.
Yeah, I think Rosa has an answer for that.
Hi, Ramin. Great question. So it's the scientific consensus at the moment that bats are the species that coronavirus originated in. We're not exactly sure how the spillover event happened. That's what we call an event where a new virus comes from animals and then ends up in humans. So we're not exactly sure what's happened at this point in time, but there are some people looking at different animals that have been present around the markets that the initial outbreak had occurred. So one of these that people have looked at is called a pangolin, which is kind of a little bit like an armadillo, and it's can be used for food and other remedies and medicines in China. So that's what they think has happened, is that the pangolin would have been infected from the bat, and then that may have been entered into the marketplace where it transferred to people.
Thanks, Rosa.
Yes.
So you heard a little bit about the pangolin.
Yeah.
So what a funny creature. Did you know what a pangolin was before you saw that?
I thought it was just penguin misspelled.
what are those penguins
very
doing?
Fascinating looking creatures. They almost look like Pokemon.
Absolutely fascinating. They
They don't
do
look
look
real.
like Pokemon. They really do.
Yeah.
They are so cool. If you haven't seen a video of one, go and check one out on the internet because I think they're the coolest creatures. And they're mammals, we just found out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
They're
didn't
not
know that.
Lizards,
And they eat
despite the
ants?
scales.
They're anteaters?
They're like a scaly anteater.
A scaly anteater. How cool.
An
So
aardvark.
it's pretty interesting. So yeah, there you heard a little bit about how, you know, it may have been bats / pangolins. You know, it's something that scientists all around the world are trying to work out.
Yeah, they're
it's
not
tricky.
too sure.
They're not too sure. So I have a question from Ronit from Alamander Canine College as well. Who got the coronavirus first?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We don't actually know, as Rosa kind of touched on. We're not too sure where it came from or who had it first. But I believe there is a team of scientists working to try and trace back the steps and find out exactly where it came from. Yeah,
Virologists, in fact. If you've never heard that before, it's a scientist who studies viruses. So there you go, a virologist.
That's where the ver is.
Studies to try and find vaccines and things too. So
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go. So I'm sure if they do find that out, we'll probably let you know on BTN because that's our job to tell you the news.
Definitely. Okay, so I have Oscar from Sydney Grammar School. Oscar would like to know, how big is it? I assume Oscar's talking about how big is this outbreak?
I think Rosa
how
actually talks about how big the virus actually is.
Oh,
so when it's in your
okay.
body,
hopefully this answers your question, then, Oscar.
That's a really good question, Oscar. It's very scientific. I like it. So coronaviruses and all viruses are really, really, really small because they have to actually live inside of human cells or animal cells in order to make copies of themselves and survive and spread around. So it means that they're tiny. And by tiny, I mean the coronavirus is 100 nanometers in diameter. So just for context, if you imagine a 1 meter ruler and then that's divided into 100 centimeters. So instead of dividing it into 100 centimeters, you took a 1 meter ruler and divided it 1,000,000 times. And then you divided that 1,000,000 times by 10 times. And that's how tiny coronavirus is.
There you go. Oh,
Tiny, tiny, tiny.
definitely not as big as this.
Definitely not as big as our heads.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, tiny. Very tiny. What was that?
Wow.
1 million? Divide a
smaller
meter by
than
1,000,000
that.
and then divide each of that millionth by 10.
That sounded about right.
Whoa.
Wow,
Looks
there
like
you
an
go.
alien planet with
It
red
does.
trees.
It's crazy. It's so fascinating. Yeah, obviously it's not a great thing, but it's definitely an interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, so let's keep going with these questions because we have so many. Okay, so I have, let's see. Let's talk a little bit more generally. This is Lane from Roland Plains Upper Public School as well. What has been the worst virus in the world?
Oh, the worst virus in the world.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly the worst, but there have definitely been some bad ones. The Spanish flu, that
Yes.
was pretty bad.
The plague.
The plague.
Was the plague?
I mean, just
I
the
think plague
name,
is a virus.
the
I'm not
plague.
sure. But yeah, the plague, also known as the Black Death, was pretty crazy in the 1300s. I think I've got that right. In Europe as well. That was a pretty intense one.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
Oh, yes. You just scraped through.
But yeah, no, really bad. And the Spanish flu, like you said, was during World War One, just after,
Yes.
sort of towards the end of World War One.
Do you know the interesting thing about the Spanish flu and why it spread quite quickly? And it actually did kill a lot of people. I think it killed about a fifth of the world's population at the time. The world was the population was a lot smaller back then. But because the war was going on, the media outlets weren't reporting on it. So people weren't actually aware of that this was going on. You've obviously got people fighting in foreign countries and then going back, so they're bringing it back with them. And that's kind of how it spread because no one knew that it was actually this disease or this virus that was being spread around. So it's not like today where we know from not day one, but pretty early on that there is a new virus and that it is traveling pretty fastly, and so we take extra precautions. But back then they had no idea, so it actually was quite a while until people started reporting and talking about it.
Yeah, and fun fact, I think I mentioned this maybe in another Ask a Reporter, potentially, if you're a long-time viewer, but the Spanish flu as well didn't originate in Spain. It was just because, like you said, the media in Spain were the first to report about it, and they didn't ignore it. They got
a virus named after them.
Yes, which is
They're like, we didn't even start this.
So speaking of names, we have Alameda Canine College. I have Reeve. Why is coronavirus named after COVID-19? And I like that one because it's fascinating. So I can tell you a little bit about that if you want to. Yeah. I don't know specifically why they picked the name COVID-19, but I know the process around it, and it is really difficult. So basically,
COVID-19, just sounds like some sort of like space explorer, like
it
a
does,
space shuttle or something.
It
COVID-19.
It does. I think it is quite weird. Yeah, it's become the norm now saying COVID-19. It's funny. But basically, coronavirus is a sort of a group of viruses. So it's not any one individual. A bit like influenza. There are different kinds of influenzas, just like the Spanish flu was a type of influenza, or your everyday flu that you might get in winter, or you might get a vaccine for every winter is a type of flu within influenzas. So what happens is they couldn't just keep calling it coronavirus. They needed to give it a specific name, because this is a new kind of coronavirus. For a while there, it was being called the new coronavirus. Not very catchy, not very specific. So they needed to come up with a name. So they did that probably like a month ago, I think it was. A bunch of scientists all sat together and had to work it out. They have all of these specific rules around it, which make it really difficult. So for instance, a virus cannot be named after a person. It cannot be named after a country or a place. It can't be named after an animal.
Do you think that they did that after the Spanish flu?
Or yes, quite possibly. They were like, this is really unfair.
We probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't do that again. It's a bit unfair on
and animal, they can't say the bat virus.
Yes,
or the
and do you know
pangolin
why?
virus.
Because at one point you guys might have heard about the swine flu. Now the swine flu actually didn't necessarily have anything to do with pigs who were swine. It was just a name which became catchy and kind of took off, and everyone started nicknaming it the swine flu, even though it had a different name. And because of that, in some places people, started having fears about pigs and pork and all, because lots of people eat pigs, and so it became a really big thing. And some people, would then, possibly, you might have some people in countries killing pigs or not wanting to have them anymore. So it's a really big problem if people start associating something with a virus. You can have people freak out about it and worry about it and avoid things and do certain, act in different ways. So you have to be so careful about what you call it. So they spent all of this time coming up with that lovely, catchy name, COVID-19. So that's why it's not bat flu or anything like that. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I'm going to guess that the 19 is because of 2019. Then that's when it started.
You might be right. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so there you go. The 19 is because of that. And I'm sure COVID, I should know what COVID is, but I can't remember. I'm sure I've heard it at some point why it is. I think it's to do with the... Oh, okay, there we go. Coronavirus disease.
COVID.
There you go. COVID-19 and 2019. So there's the short answer as well. So it's really, really good question.
Wow, we have over 600 questions.
Whoa, over 600 questions so far. So many. Okay, let's...
we're going to be here for days.
Days and days. Okay, let's talk about... Okay, Kobe from Benora Point Primary School. Have any famous people gotten COVID-19? That's in the news right now, isn't it?
COVID-19 does not care if you're famous.
No.
It was, and recently it was Tom Hanks.
Yes, in Australia.
Yesterday,
in fact.
Yeah.
Those reports came out.
So him and his...
Well, actually, he put it on his Instagram. And that's
There you
how,
go.
that's how the world
That's
found
one
out.
way to tell people.
Sure is.
Yeah, and so they're still in Australia, is that
They
correct?
are
They're
quarantined.
in isolation.
It's self-quarantined, I think. So
Yes.
they're probably just stuck in a nice hotel room.
Yeah.
So it's Tom Hanks and his wife. So
Does anyone know who Tom Hanks
Yeah,
is?
does anyone know who Tom Hanks is?
I'm trying to think of a movie that
he's been in many movies for many
Forrest Gump?
years. Forrest Gump's a very famous
some
movie.
kids might have some parents who love Forrest Gump.
Yeah, lots and lots of different movies. Okay, so
Also, Justin Trudeau, Canadian MP,
yes.
isolated himself with his wife.
yes, Justin Trudeau, who is the Canadian Prime Minister, has isolated himself because his wife is being tested. Has actually been tested. Sorry, correction, has actually been found positive to have coronavirus. There's quite a lot of people. There was a famous conductor, I think he was,
that's
from
right,
the
who-
Australian Symphony Orchestra.
I think there was
it? Yeah.
who flew over here for
flew over for a concert.
Yeah, for a performance.
Okay,
And
there you go.
And then couldn't go ahead.
And couldn't go ahead.
obviously.
Yeah. So it's like you said, the
Doesn't discriminate.
COVID-19 does not discriminate. And that also probably answered somebody's question up here about scientists. Somebody asked about what happens then if a scientist gets it. So let me find that. So many questions. You've got to do some elevator music while I scroll up
I think,
through
maybe
these
I can.
hundreds
So
and hundreds of questions.
the thing is, a lot of people have got it or are getting it. Each day it's going up. But you have to remember as well that that's a lot. People who are getting it, majority of them are actually recovering and they are fine.
Yes.
So the symptoms are actually quite mild in most cases. They're very similar to just your common cold that you might get over winter. So a dry cough, a runny nose, a fever. So it's not, hearing about all these people getting it and celebrities getting it and scientists get it, it sounds scary because we're constantly hearing about it, but I'm sure they're all doing fine and they've just isolated themselves so they're not or they've put themselves in quarantine so that they're not then passing it on to other people. So it's just the same as if you got sick, you wouldn't go into school, you'd stay home and because you wouldn't want to make anyone else at school sick. And the thing is, the difference I guess between that is that this is we don't have a vaccine for this at the moment. We don't have a way to treat it. So people are getting it and passing it on, and there's no way of stopping it or controlling it at the moment. So, yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about that vaccine? I'm seeing all of these awesome questions.
We certainly can.
So I saw up here.
I think we've actually got a...
Sorry, guys, there's so many questions coming through
we've
that my
got a
tablet is a
question
little
as well
slow.
that Rosa has answered for us about that.
Yeah, let me just... I know I have it here somewhere. I'm just... Sorry, it's
We
slow,
need someone...
so
we need
slow
like an
today.
admin assistant to
We really
do...
do. It keeps
to
disappearing.
filter the questions.
Oh, man. All right, look, I'll find the question afterwards, but it was
I've got it right
definitely
here.
about... hang on. It was definitely about the... We're talking about the vaccine?
Well,
What is the cure that
Yes.
scientists have been working on for COVID-19? That was from Sanvi from Alamander Canine College. Oh, so many questions from you guys.
Thanks, Sanvi. So the real story is that it takes quite a long time. Each time a new virus is discovered, we need to learn things about their basic biology just to be able to work on a treatment. So a specific treatment for coronavirus is probably still a little bit further away. We're still looking after people with primary health care. So if you get very sick, you'll be sent to hospital and they'll take good care of you. But in terms of specific treatments, there are none at the moment. Scientists at the moment are focusing their efforts on making a vaccine against coronavirus. But again, because it takes time from discovering the virus to understanding what we're dealing with, and then also looking at health and safety of applying the vaccine, a vaccine for coronavirus is probably still 12 to 18 months away.
So there you go.
There you go.
So it's, I guess, what would that be, middle of next year? Scientists are hoping to have a vaccine.
Okay, so I have Aiden from Pagewood Public School. Aiden would like to know how many countries have been infected by the coronavirus.
Yeah, I think we've actually, and we've got a map that we can
Hang on.
potentially...
Map in the radar. Hang on.
We'll try and get a map for you. But look, the coronavirus has spread to a lot of different countries. We had some questions in here as well about where it originated, and it originated, like we talked about a bit already, in China. So Wuhan in China was the first place where the coronavirus COVID-19 was identified. So you can take a little look here, and this is sort of what the spread is looking like at the moment. So
Nice, yes.
those darker spots are
The darker spots are the ones.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm like, hang on a second. The darker spots are the ones where the most outbreaks are. So in order of countries at this point in time, the top 3 countries with the most reported cases of COVID-19 infections are China, Italy and Iran. That was the last time I checked. So China, there are about 80,000 plus infected cases. In Italy, about 12,000 or more reported cases. And Iran wasn't quite as many. I can't remember the exact figure. So in Australia, we have just over a bit over 100, maybe 100 and...
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact figure.
It's-
More than 100.
yeah,
More than 100
more than
at the moment
100.
confirmed cases. But it's changing every day.
Yeah.
Because some people, will come in and get tested and... Yeah.
And you might have heard that it was announced as a pandemic
Yes.
yesterday. So that basically just means that it's reached several countries now. So it doesn't mean it's more serious or it's more threatening. It just means that it's over multiple countries.
Mm-hmm. And multiple continents. Okay, so Gertrude from La Meniere Catholic Primary School. La Meniere? La Meniere?
Yeah.
La Meniere?
Sounds French.
It does sound French. I did it in the French way. I'm sure it's just La Meniere?
Oh.
La Me? I don't know. Look, Gertrude would like to know, can coughing into a tissue help to protect others from you if you have an illness or not?
That's a very good question.
That is what has been advised.
It has been to cough into a tissue.
Yes.
You don't
so
want to
not
cough onto your
cough
hands,
into your hands.
or your elbow. So you cough into a tissue, and I guess that would catch any...
Oh, was your elbow not allowed? I thought you meant to go like that.
well, I guess you could, but then it's on your elbow.
Yeah, no, I think that was still what they kind of said. If you're gonna
Okay.
if you need to quickly, then go for like this. Or I know what you mean. It's not very pleasant. We'll go for that. Or a tissue is definitely ideal if you're gonna cough or
Yes.
sneeze.
Yes.
We also had a question or two about, and I'll find it in a second, but about face masks. And whether or not we should be wearing face masks. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's advised that if you do have COVID-19, then you should wear face masks around other people to stop them from getting it. If you're wearing it to prevent yourself from getting it, it's not going to do anything. It doesn't actually stop you from getting the virus. So there's no need to rush out and buy a whole bunch of face masks. Like I said, unless you've already got it.
Like, don't do that.
Yes, there have been cases of people doing that, and there are some and face masks. And there are people who actually need them for purposes. I've heard that the people who work in construction or building haven't actually been able to get face masks, and they they use them to stop dust and when they're building.
Yeah, because you don't want to be
I'm talking
breathing that
about.
in. Yeah, when they're building
things.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go. I'm just going to speed through because we've got so many. I have a great question here. You've touched on this, Jack, but this is from OFGS, Oxford Falls Grammar School.
Oh,
I reckon that is 6C and Millie. That's my name. So I have Perry, Aaron, and the rest of 6C. Also Millie, because it's her birthday. Happy birthday, Millie. I also get called Millie all the time, so that's why I said that was my name too. I hope you're having a really lovely birthday.
Yes.
Okay, is COVID-19 really much worse than the average flu? Let's talk about that because I think
Yeah.
people are getting a little bit worried. I know a couple of you have asked, should we be worried? So yeah, let's discuss.
Yeah, well, and as I mentioned before, the symptoms are actually very common to your cold and flu symptoms, or a very mild version of. So in most cases, people aren't experiencing that much discomfort, or it isn't quite different to anything that they've probably had before. It does depend, though. You might have heard that a lot of adults are more likely to get it than children, or it's a lot more serious in older people, and that's mainly to do with the fact that as you get older, you could develop other conditions to do with your lungs or your heart that would make it, the COVID-19 a bit more
Dangerous.
Dangerous, exactly. So, yeah, and I think we've also got Rosa kind of answered that, because we had a question sent in from Olivia, and she asked, why is it affecting adults more than children?
Hi Olivia, that's a really great question. And the short answer is we don't exactly know why that's the case right now. And obviously that's something scientists are looking into. But what I can tell you is that you're right. It is mainly adults that get infected by the coronavirus. And not only that, adults and people that are older than 60, older than 80 are much more likely to get a severe sickness from coronavirus. Young children are, they generally don't tend to get very sick, but it's definitely more an issue in the elderly. One thing that's happened that people are now realizing is that getting very, very sick is related to if you already have pre-existing health conditions. So if you're sick with cardiovascular disease, so heart conditions, or you have chronic lung disease, then you're much more at risk of getting very sick. And these things are more often seen in the elderly. So it's a contributing factor. We're not exactly sure why more older people get infected by the virus yet, but hopefully we'll have answers for you soon.
So there you go.
There you go. All right, so I have a few questions about hand washing.
Yes.
And that might be because you did a story on hand washing.
I did do a story
which
on
is very
hand
important.
washing.
Okay, so let's go first to, we've got a few questions about panic buying too. Let's talk about that. But let's first go to Ella and Abigail from Elementa College. How many times should we wash our hands each day?
You only really need to wash them. The main times to think is before you eat. So, any time before you eat, or before you cook, before you're preparing food. After you use the bathroom, obviously, that's a big one. And basically any other time that, your hands are dirty, or maybe you've been outside. If they look dirty, you should probably wash them. But also if you think, especially in these days, if you're catching a bus home, or at school, touching things with your hands, it's not a bad idea to just go and wash them every now and again. But the main times is before you're eating, if you're going to be touching your face in any way. I don't know who plans to touch their face. Oh, unless you're doing makeup.
Makeup artist? I was like, a makeup artist normally, I know this because I have to get my makeup done for BTN all the time. They use makeup brushes and things.
But if you do it yourself...
Oh, yeah. You might.
You might just
slap it on, lather it
put
on.
Put it on sunscreen.
That's true. Cara from St. Joseph's Primary. Does hand sanitizer help wash your hands as well as soap does?
Yeah, so, hand sanitizers, most of them kill 99.9% of germs. I'm not sure about that 0.1%.
What is it, the 0.1%?
But,
is that what they say on the bottle?
Most of them do. Have you not read that? Do you ever think, what's that 0.1%?
Yeah, what's the 0.1%?
What is that one? So they are very good. So, and obviously, though, if you've been working in the garden, or your hands are dirty, visibly dirty, they're not going to be good for cleaning them in that sense. You'd want to go and get water. But if you've just been out and about, again, if you've been on a bus and you've touched things, or if you've just been out in a public place and you've touched things, and your hands don't visually look dirty, but they probably have a lot of germs on them. So hand sanitizer can be helpful for that. But I think it's always good advice that if you can get to a tap with running water and some soap, that's the best one to use.
So, we have a question from Ayla. I just can't remember, or Ayla. I can't remember where, I think it's Ayla, which school Ayla's from, but how did animals get it? Let's talk about animals.
Yeah.
I think this is one for Rosa.
Let's hand it over to Rosa.
Thanks for the question, Ayla. Coronaviruses are a type of virus that normally infect animals, like including bats, pigs, birds, and very occasionally they sometimes spill over into humans. They're not necessarily getting infected all the time, they're just they're carriers. It's present there all the time.
There you go.
Would sanitizer work on animals? Teague from Flinders Park Primary. I don't know.
Sanitizer.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. I'm thinking it would work in the exact same way as it does on humans. What a great question that is.
I don't know who's using hand sanitizer.
You probably...
and they'd probably have to be like paw sanitizer.
Paw
or
sanitizer.
Claw
That's a good point.
sanitizer.
Depending on your creature.
Yes.
Yeah, look,
Scale
it's probably
sanitizer.
not necessary because don't
would-
do
don't
it.
try that at
Yeah,
home.
don't bother doing it because the thing is that animals are going around doing their things and they have very different immune systems
That's
to
exactly
what
right.
we do.
Yes.
And there's been some interesting, there was a question, here we go, about can animals get affected? Oh gosh, this is not working for me today. Riley from Alamander, can animals get affected by the coronavirus? And so you heard like a little bit there from Rosa. But yeah, vets, the World Health Organization has said that dogs and cats, your pets generally, as far as they can tell at this point, it's not something that you need to particularly worry about. It's very unlikely that you are going to give coronavirus to your dog or cat or get coronavirus from your dog or cat, but it's really important to also just continue to wash your hands as much as possible. So if you're playing with your dog or cat at home, it's probably something you should do every once in a while anyway, like Jack was saying, before you eat or anything like that, or just after playing around with them. So there you go. All right, let's go. We'll keep going for a little bit longer because there are so many questions. We have Mixie from Oxford Falls Grammar School. What happens if you run out of toilet paper?
Oh no! Well, I don't know.
And this is
there
a
are
story.
none in the shops.
This is a story that you're going to see next week on BTN. There's a little exclusive
I'm actually
preview
working on a
for
story
you.
about, I guess, panic buying or stockpiling.
Yes, we have a question about panic buying and
Yeah.
stockpiling. So can we talk about toilet paper quickly, and then I'll ask you other questions.
You've probably seen that toilet paper is flying off the shelves, and you might go there and see that there are none there at all. The thing you have to remember is Australia is not at risk of running out of toilet paper. There is plenty. It's just trying to get it to the stores to meet the demand. It takes a bit of time. We're not going to run out of toilet paper. I'm sure we'll all be fine. If you do run out, maybe go and ask your neighbour if they've got a roll they can spare. But I think people have started to calm down. I'm sure most people have enough toilet paper to last them a year now, so they're probably not going to need to buy it for quite a while.
That's the thing you have to remember. A lot of these people are buying it now probably don't need to buy it again for a while.
Don't need to. We still don't know why people went crazy for toilet paper as well.
And they're still going crazy.
Yeah.
According to my mum, who messaged me just before and said,
yeah,
all the shelves are still empty. So there you go.
I don't know what it yeah.
It's interesting. Well, I guess you'll explore that in your story.
Unless they're making like a wedding
bit,
dress out of it, or everyone's dressing up as a mummy for
Halloween in October.
For Millie's birthday. Maybe you're having a mummy-themed birthday party.
Maybe. Oh, so many questions. All right, really quickly, let's round things up. We had a couple.
We have
of
over
fun
700
ones.
questions.
We have more than 700
Does that mean 700 people are watching?
Questions. Potentially. Look,
hello?
I don't know. Oh, wow. Okay, so we have so many. I'm just going to find right up here. Okay, I just wanted to say Benora Point Primary School, Georgie, Mia and Sarah in 6M said, sorry, this isn't a question, but we love watching your reports in class time. Then he said, pretty please answer. Well, wasn't a question.
Well, we love making them.
We love making them. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Look, so many schools. Just again, a big thank you to everyone. And sorry we didn't get to everybody. Flinders Park Primary, Neville Bonner Primary School. Here's the questions from you guys. Lamenia, Catholic Primary School. Hopefully, I still don't know if I'm saying that right. Please let me know. Mountains Christian College, Oxford Falls Grammar School, St Leonard's College, KPS.
Is that a school?
Yeet was the school yeet. Somebody wrote in there. Waitara, Adamstown.
From Newcastle.
Ellamore Vale Public School.
From Newcastle.
All of you guys who always tune in, thank you so much, and everyone else too. We really, really appreciate it. Let's just finish this off with the final thing we'll just say again, because a lot of you have asked, Lamenia Catholic School, I know you said you would really like to know as a class, should you be worried? So let's just talk about that very quickly. Like we've said a couple of times, there's no need to worry about anything, but it is also perfectly normal to feel worried if you do. It's a normal feeling, and we all experience it, especially when lots of stuff like this is happening.
Yeah, and especially when you're seeing it a lot in the media. Like
lot in the
it's our job
news.
to report it to you, and it can get a bit overwhelming when it's just constantly
Yeah.
information about coronavirus, and people are getting infected. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you have to remember there are people working very hard to stop the spread. Here in Australia, exactly, we haven't gotten to a point where it's, we've had to shut down the entire country.
Hopefully we won't get
Hopefully we won't get there, and that's why the government is working to prevent it, and get in when if they get cases quickly, or when people are infected, get to that quickly and work out where that's come from.
Yeah, so you can think of it a little bit like how we were talking about the Spanish flu before. People weren't reporting it, and so it was spreading, and that's how that kind of became so out of control all those years ago, with at the end of World War One. So the fact that we're hearing about this happening, governments are working hard.
It's a very, very small percentage of people who are actually dying as well. You have to remember that as well. Not that that's a good thing at all, but and most of those people have prior conditions as well. So it's not necessarily just the coronavirus that has done that.
So just keep all of that, keep it in perspective, and remember, if you are worried about anything, talk to a teacher or a parent. You can also speak to your doctor if you are worried about any symptoms, or if you just want some reassurance as well. Make sure you see a medical professional. All right, well, that's it from us. Thank you so much for all of your questions. Again, more than 700. We tried our best to answer as many as possible.
I don't know if we'd ever be able to answer 700 questions in half an hour.
In half an hour. Whew, it is tough. But thanks again for watching BTN, and we will catch you next Friday for another Ask a Reporter. Enjoy your weekend. Have fun, guys, and take care of yourselves. Don't forget to wash those hands. Bye.
Bye.